What if you had a premonition of your own murder? I mean, not just a fleeting thought, but a conviction so strong that you actually paid a lawyer $10,000. Paid them to investigate your death before it even happened.
Sounds like something straight out of a movie, doesn't it?
It really does. But for John Yelanick, who seemed like just an ordinary single dad from Blairesville, Pennsylvania, well, this chilling premonition tragically came true back in 2006.
Yeah, it's one of those cases that really makes you think about intuition.
Yeah.
How do we even process information that seems, well, totally illogical?
Absolutely. And in this deep dive, we're going to unpack the really unique and, frankly, unsettling circumstances around John's premonition. We'll look at the brutal reality of his death and then the investigation. All the twists and turns complicated by relationships, rumors, even potential corruption.
Right. All to try and figure out what ultimately led to this gruesome murder.
It's definitely a journey through a very dark chapter.
Mm-hmm. But maybe one with some important lessons about how justice can sometimes prevail, even when things look really bleak.
Okay, so let's get into it. John Yelanick. He was born February 20th, 1967 in Blairesville, Pennsylvania.
And his early life had this real element of tragedy right from the start. His father died in a car accident when John was just a baby, only a few months old.
Wow.
Yeah, but his mother was apparently incredibly dedicated. She worked hard to give him the best life she could.
And John really seemed to make her proud. He was, consistently on the honor roll in school, made the dean's list in college.
Then on to dental school.
Right. And after he got his degree, he actually partnered with his own childhood dentist.
The very person who inspired him in the first place.
Exactly. They started a new practice together.
And what's really interesting here is that John wasn't just any dentist. He specifically chose to work with kids, making them feel comfortable, maybe even excited about going to the dentist.
That's quite a skill, especially for a pediatric specialist.
Definitely.
It paints a picture, doesn't it? Someone dedicated to making kids feel safe. But beyond his work, John was also described as, the life of the party.
Yeah, apparently quite the storyteller. Even though he had this kind of old-fashioned side, loved old movies, old music, never even owned a cell phone.
Huh, no cell phone. Interesting.
Right, but still very captivating. And this charm apparently attracted Michelle Cameler. He met her when they were in their 20s.
He called her the homecoming queen.
Mm-hmm. He apparently said he felt like the bookworm had finally landed the homecoming queen.
You can almost hear the smile in that.
Totally. Their romance moved pretty quickly. Michelle was divorced with 2 kids, and she showed real dedication early on. She stepped in to help when John's mother got sick with pancreatic cancer.
Right when John was trying to get his dental practice off the ground, too.
Exactly. So just 2 months into the relationship, he gives her this 2-carat engagement ring.
Wow.
And then New Year's Eve, 1997, they fly off to Vegas and get married.
Quick timeline. And John became a stepfather.
Yeah, he embraced it, took the kids to school, activities, all that. But he always wanted a child of his own.
So they decided to adopt.
Right. They found a little boy in Russia, named him JJ.
And John felt his life was complete then.
That's what he said. His practice was doing really well. The family moved into this beautiful house, pool, hot tub, bar, the works.
It was idyllic.
It seemed that way. But after about 4 years, cracks started appearing.
Like what?
Little things at first, maybe a lack of affection from Michelle. Then rumors started. Infidelity, both sides. And by 2002, they decided to separate. Michelle moved out with the kids.
Okay, so let's jump forward. It's early 2006, about 4 years after they separated. John goes to see his lawyer.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really strange. He contacts his lawyer with this truly bizarre request.
He gives them $10,000 cash.
$10,000.
Yeah.
With very specific instructions. He told his lawyer, I have a feeling that I'm going to be murdered.
Chilling.
And if I am, I need you to use this cash to investigate my death.
That foresight, paying a lawyer in advance for your own murder investigation, it's just, wow, what was he thinking?
Exactly. And he never told the attorney who he suspected.
Or why.
Nope. Just this incredibly strong feeling. He was convinced he'd be murdered.
And even worse, he thought the police would likely never find his killer.
Yeah, he believed it would be covered up, like no evidence left behind.
Did his friends or family have any idea why he felt this way? Or did it seem to come out of nowhere?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And the investigators definitely asked that. He didn't name names to the lawyer, but apparently, to his inner circle, he'd expressed fears about someone specific, someone connected to law enforcement.
Ah, okay. That adds another layer.
It does. But what's just profound here is the certainty he felt, that premonition, and the fact that he tried to set up his own investigation, basically, from beyond the grave.
It really does sound like that. Like he deeply distrusted the official channels. And tragically, horribly, his premonition came true.
It did. April 13, 2006, just a few months after that meeting with his lawyer.
John's 9-year-old neighbor, Zachary, comes over. He was looking for John's son, JJ, to see if he could play.
And as Zachary walks up the driveway, he sees something wrong. Broken glass. Blood on the front steps.
Oh, no.
And a glass panel on the front door is shattered. He peeks inside.
And sees John.
Sees John lying motionless on the floor. His throat slit from ear to ear.
For a 9-year-old kid to find that, unimaginable.
Absolutely horrific. Zachary runs home, gets his older brother, they call 911. Within minutes, the place is swarming with first responders, police.
But the initial call wasn't even for a murder, right?
No, the initial dispatch was for a possible heart attack.
Yeah.
So when the police arrived and saw the scene, they were completely shocked.
Because this was clearly not a heart attack.
Not even close. It was incredibly violent. Blood everywhere, carpet, walls, by the door.
You mentioned it was even dripping through the floor into the basement.
Yeah, dripping into the basement. It was a brutal scene.
And the forensic pathologist, Dr. Cyril Wecht, he's a big name.
Very high profile. He consulted on the JFK assassination, other major cases.
And what did she say?
He called it one of the most violent deaths they had ever seen. That level of brutality just screamed rage or some intense personal motive.
It tells you something about the killer's state of mind.
Definitely. So, as forensics started collecting evidence, detectives talked to the neighbors.
And they heard things.
They did. One neighbor reported hearing a loud argument around 1:30 a.m. the night before. Heard John screaming, "I'll never loan you money again."
Okay, so the money angle again.
Right. And then, disturbingly, other neighbors heard, well, they described them as pig noises and squeals coming from the house around the same time.
Pig noises, that's incredibly disturbing, chilling.
It really is. It just paints this picture of sheer terror, of violent struggle.
So that loaned money lead seemed promising at first.
It did, because John was known to be generous. So police looked into two main people initially.
First was Melissa Hughes.
Right, a high school friend. John had loaned her about $15,000 for a bakery she wanted to start.
And there were rumors of an affair.
Yeah, complicated by the fact her husband, Tom, who was actually Zachary's father, the boy who found John, was in the Navy and away a lot.
But Tom was cleared.
He was. The bloody boot print found at the scene wasn't his size. Plus, he passed a polygraph, seemed genuinely devastated about John's death.
Okay, who else?
Then they looked at John's cousin, Tracy Jacobs. John had given him $20,000 for a lawn mowing business.
And Tracy said...
Tracy claimed it was a gift, not a loan. He also passed a polygraph test.
So those money leads kind of fizzled out?
They did, which forced detectives to pivot, to look elsewhere.
And as they dug deeper into John's life, something right there at the crime scene pointed them in a new direction.
Exactly. Because lying on his coffee table...
The divorce papers.
Yep, John's divorce papers covered in his blood. They were set to be signed the very next day.
Even though they'd been separated for years.
Right. That detail immediately shifted the focus onto potential motives related to the divorce.
And the financial implications. Because Michelle, his estranged wife, was getting spousal support.
$2,500 a month, which would have ended the moment those papers were signed and filed.
And by this point, Michelle had moved on.
Yeah, she'd been living with her new boyfriend for 2 years, a guy named Kevin Foley.
Who was a Pennsylvania state trooper.
Correct.
And the history between John and Michelle post-separation wasn't good.
No, it was really hostile.
Yeah.
Escalating hostilities. Michelle had made some serious accusations against John.
Like physical abuse against their son, JJ.
Yes, which John's friends strongly denied. But she got a court order against him based on it. Even got him arrested.
And it didn't stop there.
No. Later, she accused him of sexually abusing JJ.
But a judge found no evidence.
Zero evidence. In fact, the judge suspected Michelle had actually coached JJ, who was only 6 at the time, to make these false claims.
Wow. That's quite something.
The prosecution later argued Michelle just wanted John out of her life. But she also wanted his money.
They had reached some kind of agreement, though, right? In January 2006.
They had. Michelle would get 60% of the assets, shared custody. Seems okay on the surface.
But the life insurance.
But if John died while they were still technically married, forget the 60-40 split. She'd get all the assets.
Plus
a $1 million life insurance payout.
$1 million. Okay, that's a massive financial incentive.
Huge. But despite this incredibly strong motive, There was no physical evidence linking Michelle directly to the crime scene.
And those boot prints were too big for her.
Way too big.
Yeah.
And she denied any involvement adamantly.
So let's go back to the autopsy. Dr. Weck's findings.
Right. His analysis painted this terrifying sequence. He believed John was chased through the house.
His head shoved through that glass panel by the door.
Exactly, causing massive, almost fatal neck injuries right there. And then the killer slit his throat with a long blade, 6 inches or more.
And crucially, Dr. Weck said,
He said the attacker had to be someone bigger than him. John was 6 feet tall.
So, bigger than John, plus the large boot prints.
It really started pointing heavily towards Michelle's boyfriend, the state trooper, Kevin Foley.
Okay, and this is where Officer Janelle Lead comes in again.
Yes. Remember, this was her first murder case. And she immediately felt something was off, like a conspiracy unfolding.
Because her superiors told her not to look into Kevin Foley.
Explicitly told her not to interview him, not to investigate him, a fellow state trooper.
But she didn't listen.
No, she basically went rogue. She secretly took John's fingernail cuttings from the morgue
And hid them.
stored them in the fridge at the Blairesville Borough Police Station. Didn't send them to the state lab like she was supposed to.
Why?
She said she wanted to protect the evidence. She suspected something was wrong with how the investigation was being handled right from the start.
That's a huge risk for a junior officer.
Incredible bravery, really. Meanwhile, red flags kept popping up around Kevin Foley.
Like the mark on his forehead.
Yeah, this big mark right after the murder. He claimed he got it playing hockey.
Okay.
Then, the state police, Foley's own colleagues, took over the investigation. They searched his car, the house he shared with Michelle.
And found nothing.
Claimed they found nothing. The case just went cold.
Even though John's family and friends were basically screaming for them to investigate Foley.
Shouting from the rooftops, as one source put it. But officially, nothing.
This goes right back to John's fear, doesn't it? His premonition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He'd told a friend he was being threatened by someone in the police force.
And that he feared his death would be covered up.
Exactly. And that friend, he told, happened to be involved in local politics.
Ah, so they took it higher up.
They took the case to the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, asked them to take a fresh look.
And what did the AG's office find?
They reviewed the case files and immediately saw problems. Big problems. It strongly suggested some sort of police corruption, or at the very least, major obstruction.
What kind of problems?
Well, for one, they found interviews with Kevin's own co-workers, fellow troopers,
Saying what?
saying Kevin Foley hated John, that he wished John would die a horrible death. Sometimes, apparently, it was the first thing out of his mouth in the morning.
Wow, that's pretty damning.
Extremely. But guess what wasn't in the files?
Let me guess. An interview with Kevin Foley himself.
Not a single one. A glaring omission for someone who should have been a prime suspect.
Okay, so the AG's investigation starts putting the pieces together against Foley. What did they have?
Well, first, there was surveillance footage. 2 convenience stores near John's house,
Showing what?
showing a truck belonging to be Kevin's around 1:00 a.m. That's about 30 minutes before those awful pig noises were heard.
Was it definitively his truck?
An FBI specialist looked at it, found similarities but also some differences. So it wasn't like a smoking gun on its own. Suggestive, but not definitive.
Okay, what else?
The boots. This was huge.
The bloody boot prints at the scene matched Foley's size.
Yes, but more than that. The brand, AS6, was a limited edition. You couldn't just buy them in stores in Western PA.
So how did Foley get them?
Well, this brand had a special law enforcement purchase program. Police and firefighters could order directly.
And records showed.
Records confirmed Kevin Foley had purchased a pair of these exact special edition shoes before John's death. The tread matched, the size matched.
That's pretty incriminating.
Very. A major piece of the puzzle.
And then the final nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Officer Lead's fingernail clippings. The ones you hid in the fridge.
They finally got tested.
Yes. Sent off to an FBI crime lab. The initial DNA results came back.
What'd they show?
They showed only a 1 in 3,000 chance that the DNA found under John's fingernails does not belong to Kevin Foley.
Pretty good odds already.
Very good. But by the time the trial happened, DNA technology had improved even more.
So they retested.
Well, the analysis became more refined. The odds improved dramatically. It became a 1 in 189 billion chance that it's someone else's DNA.
1 in 189 billion. That's irrefutable.
That's the definition of a smoking gun in DNA terms. Truly undeniable evidence.
So with that, Kevin Foley was arrested.
Yep. September 27, 2006. His trial started in March 2009.
And the prosecution laid out their case.
Their theory was pretty straightforward. Kevin went to John's house that night, probably to bully him about the divorce, maybe the spousal support ending.
A fight breaks out.
Things escalate violently. John is chased, attacked, and brutally murdered.
What did the defense argue?
They tried to poke holes in the evidence, especially the DNA tech, which was still relatively new in some ways back then. They brought up the old loaning money suspects again.
Tried to pin it on someone else.
Yeah, even tried to suggest another incarcerated person might be involved. But honestly, compared to the DNA in the boots, their case seemed pretty weak.
And it got weaker.
Much weaker. Especially with the testimony from one of Kevin's own friends, a fellow trooper.
What did he say?
He testified that Kevin had actually asked him to help him kill John.
Asked a fellow officer to help commit murder.
That's what the friend testified to.
Just shocking.
And then Kevin Foley himself testified.
It did. Took the stand in his own defense. Insisted he was innocent.
How did he explain the threats? Wishing John dead, asking for help. He claimed he just had a sixth sense of humor. Said he made off-color jokes all the time, but never meant any of it. Never intended to act on it.
Did the jury buy it?
Well, first, it's notable who didn't appear in court.
Michelle
Cameler.
Yeah.
Never showed up during the entire 2 weeks of testimony, despite being central to the motive.
Interesting. So the verdict?
After deliberating for over 6 hours, the jury came back.
Guilty.
Guilty of first-degree murder. Kevin Foley was sentenced to life behind bars.
And Michelle, what happened to her?
She was never charged with anything related to John's death. After the trial, she took the 3 kids, including JJ, and moved away to Georgia.
Did she get the life insurance money? The $1 million?
The sources we looked at don't explicitly confirm it, but the implication is strong that yes, she likely did receive it since they were still married when he died.
Wow. So some people still think she was involved or manipulated Kevin.
There's definitely speculation out there. But she denies it, and crucially, investigators never found enough evidence to charge her.
It all comes back to John in the end, doesn't it? That final request he made to his lawyers.
Yeah, with that $10,000 he gave him, the most important instruction wasn't about the investigation.
It was about his son.
It was. Make sure JJ knows how much I love him. Just heartbreaking.
It really is. John Yelanick's case. It's such a powerful, disturbing example of a premonition coming true.
And an investigation that needed these extraordinary measures, like Officer Lead hiding evidence, just to overcome the obstacles and, well, apparent obstruction.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How do any of us interpret those really strong gut feelings, those internal warnings, especially when they seem to defy logic?
Yeah, and what's our responsibility when someone voices that kind of fear of their own death? It's a case that leaves you wondering about intuition, about justice, and maybe how much we really understand about either one.